And if there remains such a place that I can go, will someone tell me, I'd love to know. Remember the songs used to make you rock away. Those were the days when love used to rain, yeah. Dance all night to the songs they play. We can come again, do it just the same, yeah. Remember the songs used to rock away. Those were the days when love used to rain, yeah. Danced all night to the songs they play. We can come again, do it just the same. Remember the nights, yes, we rocked together. Where is it all gone? Oh, I miss those days. I miss those days. Remember the songs used to make you rock away. Those were the days when love used to rain. We danced all night to the songs they played. We can come again, do it just the same. Now I feel it in my heart. We in such a golden time at the park. Yes. Now there's hardly any safe place left to go. Someone's bound to come and try to spoil the show. Remember the songs used to make you rock away. Those were the days when love used to rain. We danced all night till the songs they played. We can come again, we do it just the same. Hey, John Old Johnson, Ellis, Delroy Wilson, Dennis Brown. Hey, Big U, Josie Wells, Daddy Roy would wake the town, yeah. And you had to hold your woman real close when Smokey starts to sing. Temptations, Marvin Gaye, Spinners all the way. Aretha Franklin, Patti LaBelle used to make me drift away. Play Stevie Play, Samuel Kenny Day. We dance all night to the songs they play. We can come again, do it just the same. Right now we need a brand new start. People Tanner, Stelroy Wilson, Dennis Brown. Hey, hey. Big U, Josie Wells, that a Roy would wake the town, yeah. And you had to hold your woman real close when Smokey starts to sing. Temptations, Marvin Gaye, Spinners all the way. Aretha Franklin, Patti LaBelle used to make me drift away. Play Stevie Play, Samuel Kenny Day. Hey, we dance all night to the songs they play. We can come again, do it just the same. Hey, right now we need a brand new start. People everywhere need more music from the heart. And if there remains such a place that I can go, will someone tell me, I'd love to know. Remember the songs used to make you rock away. Those were the days when love used to rain, yeah. Dance all night to the songs they play. We can come again, do it just the same, yeah. Remember the songs used to rock away. Those were the days when love used to rain, yeah. Danced all night to the songs they play. We can come again, do it just the same. Remember the nights, yes, we rocked together. Where is it all gone? Oh, I miss those days, yeah. I miss those days, yeah. Remember the songs used to make you rock away. Those were the days when love used to rain, yeah. We danced all night to the songs they played. We can come again, do it just the same, yeah. Now I feel it in my heart. We in such a golden time at the park, yes. Now there's hardly any safe place left to go. Someone's bound to come and try to spoil the show. Oh, oh, oh. Remember the songs used to make you rock away. Those were the days when love used to rain. Hey, we danced all night to the songs they played. We can come again, we do it just the same. Hey, hey, John Old Johnson, Ellis, Stelroy Wilson, Dennis Brown. Hey, hey, Big U, Josie Wells, that a Roy would wake the town, yeah. And you had to hold your woman real close when Smokey starts to sing. Temptations, Marvin Gaye, Spinners all the way. Aretha Franklin, Patti LaBelle used to make me drift away. Play Stevie Play, Samuel Kenny Day. Hey, we dance all night to the songs they play. We can come again, do it just the same. Hey, right now we need a brand new start. John Old Carlton, Electoral, Wilson, Dennis Brown. Hey, hey, Big U, Josie Wells, that a roll would wake the town, yeah. And you had to hold your woman real close when Smokey starts to sing. Temptations, Marvin Gaye, Spinners all the way. Aretha Franklin, Patti LaBelle used to make me drift away. Play Stevie Play, Samuel Kenny Day. Hey, we dance all night to the songs they play. We can come again, do it just the same. Right now, we need a brand new start. People everywhere need more music from the heart. And if there remains such a place that I can go, will someone tell me, I'd love to know. Remember the songs used to make you rock away. Those were the days when love used to rain, yeah. Dance all night to the songs they play. We can come again, do it just the same, yeah. Remember the songs used to rock away. Those were the days when love used to rain, yeah. Dance all night to the songs they play. We can come again, do it just the same. Remember the nights, yes, we rocked together. Where is it all gone? Those days, yeah. Remember the songs used to make you rock away. Those were the days when love used to rain, yeah. We danced all night to the songs they played. We can come again, do it just the same, yeah. Now I feel it in my heart. In such a golden time at the park, yes. Now there's hardly any safe place left to go. Someone's bound to come and try to spoil the show. Oh, oh, oh. Remember the songs used to make you rock away. Those were the days when love used to rain, hey. We danced all night till the songs they play. We can come again, we do it just the same. Hey, hey, John Old Carlton, Electoral, Wilson, Dennis Brown. Hey, hey, Big U, Josie Wells, that a roll would wake the town, yeah. And you had to hold your woman real close when Smokey starts to sing. Temptations, Marvin Gaye, Spinners all the way. Aretha Franklin, Patti LaBelle used to make me drift away. Play Stevie Play, Samuel Kenny Day. Hey, we dance all night to the songs they play. We can come again, do it just the same, hey. Right now, we need a brand new start. People Those were the days when love used to reign. Hey, we danced all night till the songs they played. We can come again. We do it just the same. Hey, hey, John Old Times, Electoral, Wilson, Dennis Brown. Hey, hey, Big U, Josie Wells, that a Roy would wake the town. Yeah, and you had to hold your woman real close when Smokey starts to sing. Temptations, Marvin Gaye, Spinners all the way. Aretha Franklin, Patti LaBelle used to make me drift away. Play Stevie Play, Sam Cooke any day. Hey, we dance all night to the songs they play. We can come again, do it just the same. Hey, right now we need a brand new start. People everywhere need more music from the heart. And if there remains such a place that I can go, will someone tell me, I'd love to know. Remember the songs used to make you rock away. Those were the days when love used to reign. Yeah, dance all night to the songs they play. We can come again, do it just the same. Yeah, remember the songs used to rock away. Those were the days when love used to reign. Yeah, danced all night to the songs they play. We can come again, do it just the same. Remember the nights, yes, we rocked together. Where is it all gone? Oh, I miss those days. I miss those days. Yeah. Remember the songs used to make you rock away. Those were the days when love used to reign. Hey, we danced all night to the songs they played. We can come again, do it just the same. Hey, now I feel it in my heart. We in such a golden time at the park. Yes. Now there's hardly any safe place left to go. Someone's bound to come and try to spoil the show. Oh, oh, oh. Remember the songs used to make you rock away. Those were the days when love used to reign. Hey, we danced all night till the songs they played. We can come again, we do it just the same. Hey, hey, John Old Times, Electoral, Wilson, Dennis Brown. Hey, hey, Big U, Josie Wells, that a Roy would wake the town. Yeah, and you had to hold your woman real close when Smokey starts to sing. Temptations, Marvin Gaye, Spinners all the way. Aretha Franklin, Patti LaBelle used to make me drift away. Play Stevie Play, Sam Cooke any day. Hey, we dance all night to the songs they play. We can come again, do it just the same. Hey, right now we need a brand new start. just the same. How I feel it tonight. Will someone tell me, I'd love to know. Remember the songs used to make you rock away. Those were the days when love used to rain, yeah. Dance all night to the songs they play. We can come again, do it just the same, yeah. Remember the songs used to rock away. Those were the days when love used to rain, yeah. Dance all night to the songs they play. We can come again, do it just the same. Remember the nights, yes, we rocked together. Where is it all gone? In the wind of an those days, yeah. Remember the songs used to make you rock away. Those were the days when love used to rain, yeah. We danced all night to the songs they played. We can come again, do it just the same, yeah. Now I feel it in my heart. In such a golden time at the park, yes. Now there's hardly any safe place left to go. Someone's bound to come and try to spoil the show. Remember the songs used to make you rock away. Those were the days when love used to rain, hey. We danced all night to the songs they played. We can come again, we do it just the same, hey. Hey, John Old Dalton, Ellis, Delroy Wilson, Dennis Brown, hey, hey. Big U, Josie Wells, Dada Roy would wake the town, yeah. And you had to hold your woman real close when Smokey starts to sing. Temptations, Marvin Gaye, Spinners all the way. Aretha Franklin, Patti LaBelle used to make me drift away. Play Stevie Play, Sam Cooke any day, hey. We dance all night to the songs they play. We can come again, do it just the same, hey. Right now we need a brand new start. People everywhere need more music from the heart. And if there remains such a place that I can go, will someone tell me, I'd love to know. Remember the songs used to make you rock away. Those were the days when love used to rain, yeah. Dance all night to the songs they played. We can come again, do it just the same, yeah. Remember the songs used to rock away. Those were the days when love used to rain, yeah. Dance all.
This video will guide you through the process. First, you find YouTube on your TV, on your television. Click on it. Allow it a few seconds to open. Once it opens up, Recently, we've been getting a lot of emails and messages that some of you have been having some problems in actually locating the new douglAR Politics channel. This video will guide you through the process. First, you find YouTube on your TV, on your television. Click on it, allow it a few seconds to open. Once it opens up, you go to search. You then search the name douglAR Politics. Once the menu comes up, because it's a new channel, it will not be prioritized.
Night to the songs they play, we can come again, do it just the same. Remember the nights, yes, we rock together. There is no harm in the wind of an
Be using tonight. And going forward, what you do is you go across the menu all the way to the end, and where you see the logo douglAR Politics, you click on it. Once you click on it, the douglAR Politics Live will show up. You click on it, you open the screen. Please remember to subscribe. If you don't have an account, you need to open one on YouTube. It's very easy. You can WhatsApp or message us and we will send you the direction to do it. Thanks and enjoy the show tonight. Our special guest, Senator Jerlene John. Recently, we've been getting a lot of emails and messages that some of you have been having some problems in actually locating the new douglAR Politics channel. This video will guide you through the process. First, you find YouTube on your TV, on your television. Click on it, allow it a few seconds to open. Once it opens up, you go to search. You then search the name douglAR Politics. Once the menu comes up, because it's a new channel, it will not be prioritized. You more than likely are going to see the UNC channel, which we'll not be using tonight. And going forward, what you do is you go across the menu all the way to the end, and where you see the logo douglAR Politics, you click on it. Once you click on it, the douglAR Politics Live will show up. You click on it, you open the screen. Please remember to subscribe. If you don't have an account, you need to open one on YouTube. It's very easy. You can WhatsApp or message us and we will send you the direction to do it. Thanks and enjoy the show tonight. Our special guest, Senator Jerlene John. Recently, we've been getting a lot of emails and messages that some of you have been having some problems in actually locating the new douglAR Politics channel. This video will guide you through the process. First, you find YouTube on your TV, on your television. Click on it, allow it a few seconds to open. Once it opens up, you go to search. You then search the name douglAR Politics. Once the menu comes up, because it's a new channel, it will not be prioritized. You more than likely are going to see the UNC channel, which we'll not be using tonight. And going forward, what you do is you go across the menu all the way to the end, and where you see the logo douglAR Politics, you click on it. Once you click on it, the douglAR Politics Live will show up. You click on it, you open the screen. Please remember to subscribe. If you don't have an account, you need to open one on YouTube. It's very easy. You can WhatsApp or message us, and we will send you the direction to do it. Thanks, and enjoy the show tonight. Our special guest, Senator Jerlene John. Recently, we've been getting a lot of emails and messages that some of you have been having some problems in actually locating the new douglAR Politics channel. This video will guide you through the process. First, you find YouTube on your TV, on your television. Click on it. Allow it a few seconds to open. Once it opens up, you go to search. You then search the name douglAR Politics. Once the menu comes up, because it's a new channel, it will not be prioritized. You more than likely are going to see the UNC channel, which we'll not be using tonight. And
issues that affect these residents. Issues that affect these residents. Since then, this has fallen on deaf ears. I want to congratulate the residents this morning for lifting their voices and raising their voices in protest. Even though we are in the COVID regulations, you have done so in a peaceful manner, but you have done so within the confines of Parliament, together with your councillors and the chairman of the Princeton Regional Corporation. I understand that the corporation has also reached out to the Ministry of Works on these particular issues, calling upon them to address these matters, but also offering assistance via equipment and labour to have these issues addressed in a timely manner. 1 year has gone, several residents have lost their homes, and the road is almost insurpassable. If this were to continue in the months coming, what we will see happening is that the entire community of St. Julian will be cut off from that access point. We are calling on the Honourable Minister of Works and Transport to get his act together. We are tired of hearing that they have no funding, and that is the reason why these projects cannot be done. If you have millions of dollars for vanity projects, so-called $1 million cars, etc., you can fix the roads here in St. Julian and throughout the country. These landslips have affected and taken the homes of many persons. And therefore this morning we are asking for the geotechnical team to come in immediately. And we are inviting the Honourable Minister of Works and Transport to come down and have a meeting with the residents and indicate to them in the short-term, medium-term and long-term measure what will be the avenues available to the ministry to bring about a measure of relief and real clear solutions in this matter. This morning we are here in St. Julian with the residents in solidarity, and if it takes additional protest action and the shutting down of this community, we are willing and we plan to do so if we do not get the response that is required from the minister and the ministry.
Rowley. Smoke and mirrors. It's a very clear question to you, Keith Rowley, posed by the political leader of the opposition. Did you go to see the president on the matter of Gary Griffith, who was the commissioner of police? It's a simple question she posed. Did you interfere in that process? There's a yes or no question, Keith Rowley. And I'm laughing at the distractions that you're trying to create. A&V Oil, whether there's a lawsuit against Kamla, everything else, all the attendant, normal, scorched earth economic policies that you have enacted on the people of Trinidad and Tobago property, that's all nice, well and good. What I would like to know, what is the answer to Kamla Prasad Bissasa's very, very appropriate question? Were you involved in that process? Did you insert yourself into that process by going to see the President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Keith Rowley? Rowley. No distraction this time. We want to hear a yes or no. I might be smiling, but that is not something that could be potential misbehavior in public office. Now you have to ante up, you have to come up and let the people of Trinidad and Tobago know. Were you involved? Did you insert yourself in that process? We want to know. We're waiting on your answer, Keith Rowley. We're waiting on your answer.
The last survey that was done in January, and I have the figures here, that showed we're about 70% of that road network is between good to excellent.
I am Saddam Hussein, Member of Parliament for the constituency of Barataria San Juan. On Monday, 4th October, will be budget day for Trinidad and Tobago. And every one of us knows how important budget day is, because it affects almost every single sector of our society, be it the price of gas, the price of food, property tax, and any other fiscal measure that the government may want to implement. So to really listen and get a view of what persons out there are really thinking, we decided to take to the streets of Barataria San Juan to get the views of everyone with regards to this 2022 fiscal package. So stay tuned as we venture through the streets of Barataria San Juan to listen to the voices of the people.
Food prices in the groceries are too high. I am a pensioner and it has taken a toll on my little income that I get from the government. It's really hard now because I have to get medication with this little bit of money. We have to maintain a car, we have so much thing to do, pay bills.
As you can see, I have a newborn baby and pampers, wipes, everything going up. And it's really hard for me. Everything going up. Nothing, you can't pay 25 cents for a sweetie again. A sweetie is not 25 cents again. No, rice gone up, flour gone up, everything in the grocery gone up. But everything going up.
The food prices is very high, that is very high. And it's very difficult for each and every citizen of this country, because I can understand that the pandemic we in, the food price is not right. This is not right. This is not right.
Food prices, well, they ain't raising people pay, but they're raising food prices. They can't be raising food prices and then raising people pay. You understand? Because how you will survive by the time you get your paycheck done in the groceries, you'll have nothing for yourself.
Right, the budget coming up on Monday. I would like to see some prices dropping because price getting higher and people paying raising.
I have cousins, I have little sisters, brothers around, and this online schooling is really intolerable to the point that, it's hard, and we see that our parents are struggling these days to just make it happen for us. And it's stressing us now as students, knowing that this is what our parents need to be going through in order for us to live a good life.
It's not really that effective. I don't know how the parents who are working, managing. In my son's school, for example, every week when they read, the teachers put up stars. There are children with no stars because the parents working, so they're not at home during the day. parents that's struggling right now. In the school system, the government said you could sign up for tablets, and presently there are parents that are still waiting.
I have a daughter going to school, and believe me, the prices of these devices is ridiculous, because recently I buy a laptop, $3,000. I buy a printer, $500, getting no help from the government.
Laptop, you can't buy a laptop. You can't buy a textbook, because our textbook is $500 and more.
There's a lot of persons unemployed, and a lot of people still trying to revive themselves from being not employed due to the whole COVID situation.
Right now I'm unemployed, and right now I could do it a job right now, because I don't know what the government doing right now. Just the other day, they hired about over 200 and something county workers, and the people who really need the work, they ain't giving the people and them who really need the work. No, them ain't making no sense to me right about now.
Because of joblessness, because people don't have jobs, they're frustrated, they have nothing. Some people are depressed, some people don't know where else to turn for a mouthful of food.
Young people not getting work in the country.
This crisis we in right now should have never come with a property tax thing. How people going and pay that? And people not working and have no job. How they expect people to pay that? So they will just come and take people and push them out of the house, yes sir?
Trucks are sinking in the government road right now, but they want to bring property tax, but they can't fix the road. Well, right now there are a lot of persons who either they just cut down on jobs, or they're not even working. So I don't think it's a good thing to increase property tax right now.
Crime is surging every day.
So the crime could never go down, because when they hear the children crying and they have no money to buy nothing and things to get them to eat, what do we do?
Bringing work for the younger youths, not to rob people right now.
Yeah, my name is Nandalal Singh, better known as Naresh, the PRO for Electoral Taxistan. I used to put $150, now I have to put $250. The fuel is gone sky high.
Again, gas price going to go up. If not now, in time to come. How you expect we to put gas in the vehicle if we're not working?
The rise in the fuel prices will be very harsh for taxi drivers and commuters, because the reason why when the gas raise, price go raise, food go raise, and then after when we raise now, the commuters go jump on us.
Lower food prices in this budget coming.
Right now, that should cut on all food prices. Everything. From tomatoes to pampers to baby milk to potato to a hot pepper. Food prices supposed to cut. That's supposed to cut on food prices.
The health system is in a crisis. This health system is in a crisis. Remove this minister, this present minister of health, who is a pharmacist and knows only about pharmacy. He should not be a minister in the Ministry of Health. Diversify the economy. This is what they have to do, diversify. You can't depend on the oil sector alone.
Who that? Police, boy blue. Oh, so you is the Babylon books that is causing disruption in my domestic affairs.
That they're walking here tonight, Faris, for tonight on douglAR Politics. That they're walking. Don't try no skull. You want to make Trinidad and Tobago the fake place? We want you gone, Faris. You should have gone when you rent your own building. You're selling Porsche. You working for Inshan. Who you working for, Faris? douglAR Politics. Tonight, 7:30 p.m.
Rock up your nose up, they find your looks. Cause they shouldn't call me Babylon books.
Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. This morning.
is douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics.
Good evening and welcome to douglAR Politics. Shamfa Kujo, you're giving out money to the hockey board and they send a poor lady who is the assistant treasurer or something. Why you ain't put in the picture Douglas Camacho, the chairman of the sport company? Ain't you still the chairman of the Trinidad and Tobago hockey board, Douglas Camacho? I ain't know. Tell me now. Why you ain't go with Shamfa and take the check from the late money that you collect to suffer with children? Our children to be embarrassed and obliterated, underprepared, and have people in the Hockey Federation saying, yes, we have learned lessons from our incompetence and poor management from the minister and from Douglas Camacho and the sport company. 1.8 million. Let me tell you all something, NSOs. That money is all your money. Them are doing all you no favor. They need to go in the cabinet and get more money for y'all. That's taxpayers' money for our children. They just get on like all they're doing y'all a favor and taking up all this money spent to give out a late check. All of this backdrop and thing, an next $10,000 on this big check. How much for that? $500, $600 to do a check to make a PR stunt? I mean, oh Lord, this is a new day, a new age. If I had all the check and all the thing and all the medals and all the uniform and all the assistants and all the medical help I had give out when I was minister, if I had take picture, it is whole day, whole night I would have been taking picture. Shamfa, give me a chance now, like you like the camera now. Oh, you didn't used to like to take picture before, but now you like picture now, eh, Shamfa? The only thing happened good in the PNM in 6 years is you, girl. You improve, I must say. That's the only positive in the whole PNM. But you improve physiologically. But Shamfa, the blue tablet, nobody lives there. In the parliament, girl, behave now. I don't think they don't have no doctor for that. All right. Hefty costs hamper Trinidad and Tobago's World Cup campaign for our cyclists. Kamala bill, that not yet there, Archie, or you just reached there already. Kamala bill that, Archie throw me off there. Hefty costs, our cyclists going world championships. We moving on. And now the team, the Cycling Federation, have to make cutbacks and see who they could afford to send, because this lady has not been able to go in the cabinet and get money for our athletes. The cabinet taking the money for rentals. The cabinet taking the money for ministerial outfitting of their own building. Udicott and Noel Garcia, she is unable to get funds for our athletes. So even when they're qualifying for competitions, our federations now have to say, boy, what we can do, how we can't send everybody, we don't have the funding, but they're showing off. Guardian, now you could put it, Archie. Guardian, are you serious? The whole country know that you are the guardian of Rowley K-Pax. And you have been printing the most nonsense. Now you have the audacity and the boldfacity, according to Rudal Muniral, the new word we create, to raise your price. The Guardian, look at the Guardian say they're raising daily thing from to $4 and on Sunday $5. Guardian, that is a very high price to pay for newspaper to pick up dog poo-poo, you know. Nobody, if all you know that you was at 16,000 and dropping, now you will drop down to about 8,000 per day in the weekdays and on the Sunday. Good luck to you, Guardian. You printing rubbish, printing stupidity. People have made you out to be the Guardian Media Limited of Rowley K-Pax. The whole country against Rowley. And you raising your price? I think that doesn't make a lot of sense there, Guardian. A next man who didn't make a lot of sense. I reading this in this thing here. Right? Newspaper paid advertisement Caribbean Corporate. You can move that, Archie. Caribbean Corporate Governance Institute. Certificate in Caribbean Corporate Governance. Corporate governance is the main feature of transparency, accountability, fiduciary duty for board members. Members are acting responsibly, getting all their information, acting in the best interest of their shareholders. That's the whole concept. Proper procurement, proper tendering, proper advertisement, fairness, equity. These are the things that are espoused in corporate governance. Do you know who's the main man to talk in a conference in certificate in corporate governance? A man called Howard Dutton. This is Howard Dutton. This man is going to talk about corporate governance. Ladies and gentlemen, he on the NGC board, you know. He is part and parcel of the NGC board that in the last year alone has taken and thrown away 700 million TT taxpayers' dollars and begging the government, requesting indemnity, and cannot explain, would not come out, would not talk to the people and say what was the rationale of their decisions. They hiding, and he gone to lecture people and teach them on corporate governance structure and best practice. Boss man, give me a chance, Mr. Dutton. Did you resign from the NGC board yet? What was the corporate governance you followed in taking a decision that you could not even get liability insurance, director's liability insurance from Lloyd's of London? Why do you need and request indemnity from a government and an executive for a decision that you took? There is no need for indemnity if the decision followed good corporate governance tenets. Only if you breach those tenets would you need an indemnity. Did you ask for the indemnity also? Were you in the meeting that requested a letter be sent to request indemnity? How dare you go and play you talking to go and teach people about corporate governance when you sitting on an NGC board that has not lived up to the tenets of corporate governance at all? So move Howard Dutton. I'm very confused. I'm not going to log on to your lecture. Okay, sir? I mean, forgive me. Scotiabank ad, I coming down the road, and a Scotiabank ad on the radio. And you know Scotiabank, formerly Richard Young and them formerly, yeah, he was there for years. But Scotiabank, you're living in 1931. Scotiabank have an ad with a female voice saying, my husband told me to go and get a Scotiabank account because he is running the business and because of the ease access on the online banking of foreign and local, and where he could access his funds, and I will be at home and I could access from home, staying at home, handling my account. Y'all serious, Scotiabank? Y'all still, all you want to put women who brighter than we, brighter than man, stronger than man, could take more pressure than man, have more heart and soul than man, who achieving better in education than man, the young girls doing better in SCA for the last 30 years, better in Cape, more president's medal. They now are some of the best CEOs in the world, are women. They're more punctual, they take more pressure, they handle more stress. And you put in a 1930s advertisement where you want she to do what she had to do, iron and stay barefoot and pregnant there, and tell she husband, telling she what bank account to get? Scotiabank, I think you heard. Pull that out, please. All you embarrassing all yourself. All you have no shame, Scotiabank. So it's only man you want inside your bank? All right. Invest TT targets 50 million investment in 2022. 50 million, yes, foreign direct investment, 50 million TT, invest TT, having attracted, but here my problem. They say that they attracted previously 500 million in foreign direct investment over the last 4 years. So roughly, my maths, that works out about 125 million TT in foreign direct investment coming into Trinidad and Tobago in the last 4 years, and they said even including 2020 with the pandemic. But now they have a new lady, Chairman Franca Costello, and she come to say that her goal of her Invest TT is to attract 50 million per year in this coming year, foreign direct investment. Franca, that's 75 million less than what you say they was doing before. And Franca and Paula Gopiskun, while you attracted, or while Invest TT, Paula Gopiskun and the PNM, you say that over the last 4 years, you attracted 500 million TT in foreign direct investment. Paula, how much foreign investment went out of the country? How much money left the country? And when you take the 500 that came in and the 3 billion that went out, you have a deficit of about $2.5 billion that left. So stop playing the fool now, Paula Go Piscoon. Talk the truth. And Franca Costello, your goal is a little bit low. I don't understand. If you're averaging 125 million before and you come in gung-ho and you are going to create investment, you are going to now set your goal at 75 million less than the average for each year of the last 4 years, I am confused. Trinidad and Tobago TTCSI head, right? Interesting. Tells the government to reassess Tobago expansion project. Government should reassess Tobago's airport expansion project, now budgeted at a cost of $1.3 billion, and which, according to Mark Edgill, president of the Trinidad and Tobago Coalition of Service Industries, TTCSI, will not derive any immediate benefit from the tourism sector. You see, Edgill explained that there is an insufficient air traffic and visitor numbers to warrant the expenditure at this time. Very simple, very logical. It's not a UNC. I made that argument that in 2014, under Stephen Cadiz and Kamla, I've told you all, so you all get the numbers, there were 97,000 of international arrivals to Tobago in that same airport that we have there, 97,000. In 2017, under the People's National Movement and the collapse of the Sea Bridge, the collapse of marketing, the collapse of tourism, that number dropped up paltry 17,000. 80,000 human beings less per year than under Kamla in that airport. So 17,000 is well below the capacity of the existing airport by some 80,000 visitors per year by Kamla standard, and that was not even full capacity because it could have taken another 30,000 visitors in that same airport. We are now in a COVID-19 pandemic. World global travel has shut down and is now beginning to grow, but will not expand to those sort of pre-COVID numbers for the next 4, 5, 6 years. So why are you building a terminal? Not an airport, you know. The UNC under Pandebela Airport for 1.6 billion, and it's the #1 airport in the whole Caribbean. PNM boasting about Bastio Pande Airport. But now PNM want to build just a terminal for the same cost as Pande build a whole airport. And Tobago does not have, and look at it there, lovely Tobago Airport. That could take the extra 80,000 visitors. So why spend $1.3 billion on something that will be a ghost town? Only Rowley knows the economics of that. The man who came as Prime Minister just to procure without procurement. Food inflation up at 4.9%. International global pressures, look at him, oh my goodness, that double stuffed Oreo, oh he dressed so elite, he looks like a golfer. Golf is such a black man game, it's a grassroots game, oh my goodness, it's like football, it's like track and field, it's like basketball, this golf, look at this Oreo double stuffed clown. And they take that picture, they must have photoshopped that because he's the worst golfer. He's a carpetbagger and a clown. He has no skill. You know, some men just love a game. There are men sweating all their life playing football and they ain't get no better, but they love the game. That Rowley, he loved the game, but the game don't love he because he sucks. Food price inflation, 4.9%. Do you know what an idiot you have to be in managing the economy where 200,000 people lost work and they have food price inflation at 4.9%? Yes, there are global shocks, but those global shocks are exacerbated by a lack of agricultural plan here, a lack of local food production, a lack of systems, a lack of investment in farmers, a lack of transportation network, an increase in transportation costs, the Forex crunch that increased the cost of getting goods. All of that coupled with the global pressures have put the pain on people. When you all vote, elections have consequences, you know. Transparency in Forex, allocations needed, says the Saturday Express. Really? What date is this? Saturday Express, 2nd October 2021. Today's Express. Transparency in foreign exchange, allocations needed. But that what Inshan was saying when he get costs. But furthermore, underlying the distasteful exchange between businessman Inshan Ishmael and Prime Minister Dr. It was a distasteful exchange, Express. Not that Rowley was disgusting as a Prime Minister to speak to a citizen like that, and Rowley was the instigator of the nasty, stink, disgusting language. You all put it was a nasty exchange. Express, you all are sick. And you are allowing the level of disgusting behavior by Rowley to become the norm, and then trying to create and find solutions from the morass of incompetence and pain that is pervading our society because of newspapers like you all who are corrupt. You did an editorial on corruption. But the most corrupt thing is for a newspaper, mass media, to pretend that they're independent, to pretend to a population that they're independent and they uplift and hold and uphold the principles of journalism, when you know, just like this, you try to make excuses for one side, that you're a PNM Balize where, that you support Rowley. Rowley is totally wrong for a Prime Minister cussing a citizen, cussing a supporter, cussing a man. Inshan did not cuss Rowley. I mean, he told him something which is true. He wouldn't be able to kiss his ASS because he wouldn't know if it's his face or his bottom which one to kiss. So he might have to kiss twice to make sure he hit his ARSE, right? But here you, the Express. Underlying the distasteful exchange between businessman Inshan Ishmael and Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, that is total obfuscation. Rowley was wrong. Rowley was disgusting. Rowley's the Prime Minister. Rowley's a scumbucket. But you all can't say that because you have no testicular fortitude. You can't talk the truth. While the public conversation has been distracted by the bacchanal aspects of the crass words flying between both men. Yeah? Really? You read something different? You read something different from the whole country flying between both men? And one happens and there's no difference, even if it was both men also. There's no difference from the office holder of Prime Minister to normal citizen. There's no added responsibility. There's no added necessity to act and comport yourself in a different manner when you're the Prime Minister. Express, that's what you are trying to say here? What abject total nonsense. But let me ask you something, Express. When Jawala Rambaran, right? When Jawala Rambaran told the whole country, this is it, here it is. Here is what is happening with your foreign exchange. Look at who is sucking it up. And we need transparency, accountability, full knowledge, full disclosure. And Colm Imbat and the PNM attacked Jawala Rambaran, ran him out of office, also ensured that he couldn't get another work, that he went and interviewed, and he didn't come 16th like Vincent Edwards. He came first in the world and was going into a huge, great job. But then a discussion happened with the Minister of Finance here, the PNM Colm Imbat, the Dwayne, and then all of a sudden the job opportunity was taken away from Jawala Rambaran. All you didn't write nothing, you didn't have no opinion on that. When Jawala Rambaran was saying, this is the information, and Imbat and them was saying, keep it quiet, keep it silent, it's wrong to disclose who is getting what. Now, 6 years later, when the country is in a total mess because of newspapers like you, Express, who like to print nonsense and twist the truth in order to present Keith Rowley and his government as a viable option, you now come to say that there needs to be transparency in Forex? That is what Jawala Rambaran was saying 6 years ago, Express. Y'all are so shameless, it's not funny. Penal residents, weeks without water, fiery protests over water shortage in Rio Claro, and a minister, man, just looking to see who driving van and who ain't driving van through the tint. I don't know what he have, how he could identify man so good. What he have with man, boy, forget the man and them and get the people the water now. Archie, show the pain. This is water, you know. We talking water. The PNM cannot even give the people water. All you want them fix economy, macroeconomics, balance of payments, foreign exchange crunch. The only crunch them could eat is a chocolate. Run it, Archie. About water, PNM, all you no shame, boy. Oh, no shame, all you want to cut people now in a pandemic, under lockdown, shutdown and broke down, under the highest death rate in the world, while we are experiencing Brazilian variant, while Indian variant waiting to swim inside here. People need to wash their hands, wash, sanitize, do the thing, and PNM coming to cut people because they ain't paid their tree hard. What about all the water, all your waste? Why the water? Why you don't charge yourself for all the 4 billion gallons of water you waste for every month for the last 72 months?
Phenomenal. The partnership full of pirates and criminal. Selfie the doctor cause the state is critical. Searching to perform on the country's political structure. And he is a doctor we need. 24 years veteran, born to lead. On the 7th of September, my country a plead for Dr. Rowley and the PNM team. Tobago, are you ready? Rolling with the red army. For the love of your country, please your vote for the PNM family. Tobago, get ready. Forward in with Kid Rowley. For the love of your country,
PNM, are you really senseless and wicked? Such a good artist, such a brilliant voice, such brain, but so misdirected. You see, politics is not a game. I'm not against any artist who get paid to do a song. What a beautiful song. What a beautiful rhythm. But all the words were wrong. All the words were false. All the words led young people and others to dip their finger thinking that man, Keith Rowley, cared anything about them. You use your power and your brilliance as an artist to fool people, and now they are suffering. They have no water. They're busting tire every day they're driving. They have property tax to pay. They can't feed their family. Food price inflation. No jobs, no salaries. Freeze in tutor. Attack on labor. Attack on union busting. Economy in shattered. No foreign exchange. People cannot get US. Goods going up. You can't, taxi price going up. They're now advertising bus. All the grounds, all the recreation grounds, and look at this in Clifton Hill. This is the middle page of the Sunshine. Clifton Hill, look at the degradation of all those houses and assets of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Also past Manny Ramjohn. I coming down in the traffic from quite up by Trin City, further up there by Dabadi or Mira Day. And I forget that I had a bus pass. I coming down in the traffic and then I realized, wait, now I have a bus pass. So I fling through by Center of Excellence there, going towards the bus route, and Constantine Park, the home of such great footballers and football teams. It looked like it need cow to go and graze it in bush. Manny Ramjohn, it falling apart, rusting. The car park you could go and use like skateboard and ramp off like you're surfing on the asphalt. The places, every sporting facility is shattered. But my brethren, singing, what a beautiful voice, what beautiful lyrics, singing about Rowley and Alrawi and Convent Girl. I feel sorry for you because you, my brother, must feel shame that you, because nobody could take them on, you know. But the beauty of your artistry and your song encourage people to think that a vote did not make sense And now people vote and the children have no laptop. People vote and no school bill. People vote and their pocket empty. People vote and they come in to tax them more. People vote and their children have to pay back the debt to GDP ratio hitting 92%. You vote and your heritage and stabilization going down. You vote and you better go in the grocery with a small basket. You vote and you have no school books. You vote and they close the gate. Children have to drop out of school, drop out of NI. You vote and they close NIC, MIC and NESC centers to provide opportunities. You vote and sports funding cut from 140 million down to 10 million. You vote and PAN and culture and soca and the arts cut across the board. That's what you vote for out of a beautiful song. Listen to the editorial of the Newsday now. It's so amazing how these newspapers act as a PR consultant for the PNM. So we saw in the last week raises in taxi fare. A student talking to the teacher and saying, "Miss, coming out of Kelly Village is now $15, so you won't be seeing me in school." Very sad. People, $15. Round trip, $30. Minimum wage is $18 or something. So that's more than nearly 2 hours of work just to pay taxi fare. Because of the policies of Keith Christopher Rowley and Con Dwayne Inbot removing the fuel subsidy, not paving the roads, and Rohan Sinanan had the audacity to go on the Balize Brew with Dum Dum JW and say that 70% of the 21% of the roads under the Ministry of Works and Transport are in good condition, good to superb. Where you driving, Rohan? You're blind, dumb, deaf, and dotish. Every road across Trinidad and Tobago is in a dilapidated state. Every day on Facebook we're seeing trucks sink in sinkhole, man bust tire, rim mash up, everything going through, and you bawling that the roads are in good condition. But look at the Newsday. The Newsday then starts to praise the PNM by saying, not dealing with the issue of high transportation costs and how it's become ridiculous that poor people, one, cannot even afford to drive the car. So 70,000 cars have come off the roads of the poorest people in Trinidad and Tobago, who Pandey and the UNC, continued by Kamla, were allowed foreign use, Forex, to buy cars, B13, B14, Wetman, and they could have drive the car. Now people cannot afford the gas, cannot afford the tires when they bust, cannot afford new rims because the cost of owning a car under the PNM has been astronomical. Here the Newsday, getting on board with the PTSC, demonstrating a communication savvy rarely seen in the state agencies these days. The Public Transport Service Corporation on Wednesday ran a promotional campaign that seized the moment and drove home a strong point. Taking the bus is cheaper than other options. This is a newspaper, you know. This newspaper has just painted a rosy picture of the collapse of the transportation system, pressure on the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, increasing food prices, transport prices, medicine prices, inflation across the board in a state of the highest unemployment possible. But this Newsday went and found a glimmering hope of shining brilliance that PTSC say, taxi ferries, come and ride with us. And the Newsday is just printed that like, oh my goodness, let's go in Balize House and sing another tune. But they ain't print that the bus is breaking down and the bus drivers are operating on 2013 salary, and that men get fired from the parts department and the service department, and some of the air conditioning in the buses are working and they're breaking down all over the place, and they don't have good working conditions, and the tires busting in the road, and the brakes are getting service, and some of the drivers thought that the buses weren't safe for people to drive in them. You come to promote PNM, PTSC. That's what Newsday is. I done Surely Express, now Newsday. But I also told you. So now when the increase in transportation, so see what is happening, right? Poor people can't drive the car again because gas now start to go up. The real thing coming, the full liberalization, the full impact, you're now feeling it, but it have about 50% more to go, where more people will not be able to drive the car. Okay, when they start to mark up and put margin and increase profit margin, when Coleman but come and liberalize the gas station so that he alone and K-Wal Singh and Faris could drive the three Porsche together and race each other while you suffering. Elections have consequences, not nice tune, not big artists singing sweet song to dance. You dance, you enjoy yourself, you drink your rum, and for the next 5 years you suffer. So cars, less people have the cars to drive. So they need to go use public transportation, maxi taxi and taxi fares going up. This is the Dwayne removing your gas subsidy, and you didn't riot. Well, it's all gone now. And then now, what you were going to see is taxi fares will go up, maxi fares will go up, and people will have to flood to the already overburdened PTSC. And then when the PTSC, public transport, collapses, the PNM, who would have created the crisis, because the strategy of the PNM in order to thief is always create a crisis like the Sea Bridge. Let the pressure build on the population so that the pain is so much that they don't care about procurement, they don't care about issues of transparency, accountability, and the amount of money spent. They just want the problem solved. And then you swoop in, pretend to bring a solution, and spend billions of dollars. That is the plan, the method of PNM thieving. Well, follow it now. Increase gas price, increase bad roads, increase cost of transportation, increase maxi fares, taxi fares, put more pressure on the public service transportation system that's already overburdened. It will collapse. And then what will happen? Coleman but will come in like a knight in shining armor and tell you, oh my goodness, the public transportation service has collapsed. Let's bring a rapid rail. Y'all not seeing it? And don't feel I now come up with it this, you know. I think I told y'all this was the plan long time. So don't watch me now and say, Anil, you're just putting that puzzle together because it's happening so now and it really look like it coming true that's where they're heading to thief more money. You forget they pay $485 million for a feasibility study way back. Archie, remind the people that I told them about this plan of the PNM to come and thief and tell all about rapid rail from long time. Show them.
There's a strategy. So when you see they take away the gas subsidy fully and they take away quota for foreign use cars but leave elite big boy cars, there's a plan in the madness. Do you think they just do that just so? Let me tell you something. When 200 to 250,000 cars come off the road, what's going to happen? Multiply by that number by 2. Every day, probably 300 to 500,000 people going to need to use the public transport system, which is in total and complete shambles. Even PTSC, the bus service, running late, bus mash up, breakdown. When it rain coming through on you on PTSC, the P-car industry will be decimated because man can't put gas in the car. If they had to charge it, they have to charge it $30 for a short job. They can't do that. So what is the plan? Why they creating this emergency? Why they creating this chaos? By April, May, June, July, August, September next year, the country will grind to a halt as the public transportation system totally collapses. All of us will be in pain. We can't get to work. We can't go to grocery. We can't do nothing. Suffering. Prepare for rapid rail. Rapid rail, long brain. Remember the same Minister of Finance was Minister of Works and Transport when the Honorable Patrick Manning and Hazel Manning went on a flight on a Bombardier jet, and just so the Mighty Express get a front page story with full detailed information. Them is so good. Them investigative journalists is so good. We knew what Manning and Hazel eat on lunch as they flew over St. Lucia. And remember, Bombardier was in the midst of a bid for a rapid rail. Two companies, Bombardier and a Trinitrain consortium. Remember that? Who was the Minister of Works? Who was the only person who could have organized a flight there to put Manning on it? And once Manning went on that flight, Bombardier was basically disqualified. Remember, they disqualified Bombardier from the tender because they had a dual propulsion train, a train that is moved on diesel and electricity. So if electricity go quickly, and they disqualify them and say that don't count, okay, and they pay $485 million for some pieces of paper, a feasibility study. So all you don't feel them don't know what they're doing, you know. When the transportation collapses, prepare all yourself. Rapid rail, bless.
That was nearly 1 year ago. 3 weeks short of 1 year ago that we in the UNC are telling you this is what the PNM does. And it is now coming off nearly exactly on the timeline. What can I say? Elections have consequences. Could you believe that in Trinidad and Tobago under Convent Girl, gaff after gaff, but it doesn't even stop. A woman get one dose of one vaccine and a next dose of a next one at this late stage in the game. After this, I don't know, they just don't get any better. Now, reading in the Guardian, 17-day-old baby detained at airport over PCR test mix-up. A 17-day-old baby was detained at Piarco International Airport along with his family shortly after they arrived. According to baby's father, it was because they did not furnish a negative PCR test prior to entry on the advice of the Caribbean Airlines agent. When we inquired from the Caribbean Airlines, they told us the newborn baby, 17 days old, don't have to take it. It's 2 years and above. Upon arrival, though, the Dubé said they were detained and told that the baby was not exempt from the PCR test and will need to be placed into quarantine. I said it's not our fault and we're willing to go home. If you want to get police to escort us to make sure we go into our house in Trinidad and first thing in the morning, we will get somebody to do it. No, they put them in quarantine. So, not only the confusion and chaos, not only the insanity that our country is saying for a 17-day-old baby that we have to go and take a swab and chuck it up in the nose, nearly in the brain, that just a little pee floating around in some fluid, to take a PCR test about COVID-19. Furthermore, if you're saying that since they have a baby, well, they have to go into quarantine. We had 8,000 people just 2 months ago in June, July, 8,000 COVID positive people who had to quarantine at home. So why can't these negative people with the little baby go and quarantine home? Why are you suffering people? You see, common sense is not common in this country. It is stupidity, it is persecution, it is heartlessness. A 17-day-old baby, you all serious? 9 new Delta cases in Trinidad and Tobago. The Brazilian variant came in illegal, porous borders, illegal immigrants, and nearly shattered, took us up to 94% of the parallel and the normal healthcare system. The Delta variant is worse than that, more infectious. And we are only at 41% fully vaccinated because of the incompetent stupidity, arrogance of Keith Rowley and his government for leaving a vacuum of education, no communication strategy, a poor communications plan, buffing and shouting and telling people while showing the wrong example, because the very Prime Minister could have get COVID about 4 times. So who the hell is he to tell anybody anything? They're only 41% fully vaccinated. That's it. And the places are like ghost towns. We have vaccine and we don't even know people ain't want it. They don't even know who to give it to. Amory Brown trying to hand it off to somebody. But it was because the vacuum was left and it was filled with all kind of information. Good information, middle ground information, and purely painful wrong information. But because of the incompetence of the management of the country, which is the government, that's the situation we are in. And now the Delta variant on what them say, because me I believe what them say. But 9 new cases, community spread, Delta variant, people traffic today. You see today, well boy, if the Delta variant is really worse than the Brazilian variant, God help us all. All of y'all who looking for October 11 for bar to open up to drink Sprite, good luck to all you. Nurses not getting compensation. Imagine in a pandemic, a pandemic where people are talking, Convent Girl talking, Rowley talking, Smallpin talking, saying how they love our doctors and our frontline people and give them a clap. Yet you give them a clap, but you won't give them a check. You won't give them money. You won't put your money where your mouth is. You won't ensure that our warriors at the front lines are well paid and well seen about. Imagine the Nurse Association had to say they're not getting compensation and they're trying to get nurses to show some form of protest. But the media is proud that the protest action, the nurses did not take up the protest action. Media, that's not your job to promote the government's stupidity. The nurses did not take up the action because the nurses are fantastic, incredible, loving human beings. Being a nurse is a vocation. Nobody can be a nurse just so. You have to really love human beings. And therefore, even if you are suffering, nurses are selfless human beings. So even if they are suffering and their wages are low and they can't get the increments and they can't get the shoes and they're using the same old uniform and they're not being treated well and they're not getting the lunch allowance and not getting anything, they will still go and see about their people, their patients, because nurses have a kind of heart bigger than all of us. So the fact that they did not protest has nothing to do with the issues. The issues are there, that they're not being paid, they're being disrespected, they're not getting the bonuses, they're not negotiating, the government is union busting. But the newspapers try to play it off like, oh, the Nurse Association failed to get a big turnout in a strike action or blackout action. That is sad. Newspapers, you all are sickening. So are you saying, for example, some of the dailies, that the problems don't exist, that nurses are well paid, and the PNM is doing well, and the PNM has negotiated with them? You don't know that the PNM sent a memo 3 months ago to tell nurses they ain't getting no uniform allowance? But then again, remember when Tutor said, listen, the government, the Minister of Bundles, the Minister of Education, the Prime Minister are not taking on Tutor. They're not consulting. They're not listening. Even if they have meetings and the Tutor says certain things, they are being ignored. The Prime Minister is taking decisions on his own without listening to the experts. And then when Tutor said, we go in blackout to make the message because we have tried all that we could try. We have begged, we've beseeched, we've tried to meet, we've tried to put proposal after proposal before the government, but the government is just not listening. You know, the Guardian jump out and say, Tutor, wrong signal, you're wrong, don't black out, save the children. And then they come to put an article about teachers. But teachers listened. And it was only 40% turnout. But the point is, newspapers, y'all are the bastions. You are the fourth estate. You must hold the government to account. When you are in the government's pocket, when you are anti-labor, when you can take a position that the government is correct, where in the face of all the facts showing that they're not listening and they're not arguing, and you write an editorial that says that the tutor is wrong, you are not helping your country. You are helping the oppressor to continue to oppress one by one. They've oppressed and obliterated the OWTU. They have oppressed and obliterated workers across the board. They are oppressing tutor. They are oppressing nurses. They are going to fire WASA workers. Already 200 gone. Another 2,200 to go. They are oppressing postal workers. They are oppressing fire officers without equipment. They are oppressing lifeguards. They are oppressing port workers. They're going to sell the port. And you in the media are taking the position that you support the PNM, you support Rowley against workers and the oppression of workers, and that is sickening. And now you raise your price? Well, I call on all the workers, all members of labor unions not to buy Guardian, not to buy the newspapers. Look at the $5, take that $5 and save it to pay your extra taxi fare. Save it to pay for your extra, the increase in bread or the increase in flour project, increase in food prices. Keep your $5. Don't buy this stupid paper. Look at what the newspapers do, for example. Huge story. Bliss finally went, right? On Thursday. Bliss finally resigned. She finally let go from the Balize route, the branch, the stalk she was holding on, and like the water, it just started to slip, and she finally let go of the Balize in the bush, and she resigned. Right? So the Express, correct headline, Bliss gone. Guardian, correct headline, Bliss bows out. Check Judy Raymond, love of Rowley's life. Whatever Rowley could have given her that Kamala could not. Judy Raymond took the Newsday from 49,000 papers per day when she arrived down to 9,500 per day. And she still have a work. Well done. It will go down even lower, don't worry. So so Bliss gone, Police Service Commission collapse, constitutional crisis involving Prime Minister, Minister of National Security, National Security Council, and the President. Huge story. Biggest constitutional crisis in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. Check Newsday. Miss, sir, where are you? They use the front page to attack teachers. To attack teachers in the most vile manner. To put out there that the teachers are being wicked, vindictive, and malicious to their little babies, their children, who they are in charge of teaching. This is what the Newsday took the front page to do on the day after Bliss Sipasad and the Police Service Commission collapsed. The Newsday found that they should use their power to attack teachers. Thousands affected, children affected. Miss, sir, where are you? Well, Miss and Sir, and why that is such a vile attack? Because again, the newspapers attack nurses. There are certain jobs, certain professions that involve human beings of the highest caliber and the highest order. Nurses is one sector and teachers are the other. Teachers are the greatest human beings on God's green earth. They get the intrinsic value of their job from seeing children improve in whatever sphere, whatever subject. Teachers are amazing human beings. They have been underpaid across the globe and here in Trinidad and Tobago throughout. They still are underpaid, but they are being disrespected now more than ever. They are worse underpaid. They're not being heard. They're not even being respected to hear their solutions in a trying time to ensure that our children go forward. But the Newsday attacks teachers and upholds Rowley. Newsday, when in 1969, you weren't around yet, so you could write a piece. I see you wrote a piece about 10 years later about whether Gibbs would have called a state of emergency, so you like to go back in times. Well, since you are talking about Miss, Sir, where are you? Newsday, I want to see the center page story of a teacher back in 1969 who was so horny and thirsty that he would have to groom and request and talk and cajole a girl of school age to get some sex. I would like to see an analysis of that. And I want to hear you writing from the point of view of that little girl, that girl who became pregnant and had a child for Keith Christopher Rowley. What would she say? Would she say, Sir, why are you on top of me? Sir, what are you doing to me? Sir, it hurts. Write that story now, Judy Raymond, and you're attacking teachers? All you're sick. Now, remember the same Newsday. And Archie, oh gosh, let me prepare myself. I didn't tell him prepare that video, but I know Archie, fingers fast. The day that I could not believe what I saw. I saw my strong black men, my workers, and 1 or 2 women, strong women who work at Lake Asphalt, my fellow Trinbagonian citizens, kneeling, praying, crying, and begging Keith Rowley for money that was their own, that they had worked for, their normal salary from a government-run company with a government board, with a government management, government wholly owned. And the news they came and tried to praise Rowley and Small Pin by saying, after we saw this painful thing, the next morning the headline in the Newsday was bailout. In other words, Rowley, they heard the cries of the people, they heard the prayers, and the PNM cares, and they came and they bail out, they come to pay. Missing the entire point that for the last 2 years, the PNM has been suffering, not only these workers, but all workers. But in this case, Lake Asphalt workers, they've been complaining, crying, begging, protesting, trying to get the government to live up to their responsibilities. But Newsday rushed to print bailout. Okay. And then the Newsday comes now, same Newsday, next 2 days. This is Newsday now, Section A, Friday, October 1st. Page 21, So the front page was bailout. PNM, Rowley, Minister of Energy, Small Pin comes to the rescue. He's going to ensure that money gets to Lake Asphalt, right? So across the country, people think, oh Lord, at least the government heard and something happened. But now Newsday comes on page 21. How many of you has even reached page 21? In a little article, Lake Asphalt Union talks end in stalemate. The meeting between officials from state-owned Lake Asphalt and the Contractors and General Workers Trade Union ended prematurely on Thursday. New President General Ermine Debik Mead said LAT officials could not say when workers would be paid their outstanding wages and salaries. They could not say. But the news, they tell the whole country, bailout, great is the PNM, problem solved. And then they chuck it in the thing, no, problem is solved. They don't know when people they ain't get no money. It was just old talk, Mama Gizam. Remember in Claxton Bay, when the houses fell down, David Lee was incessantly calling Clarence Rambarat phone, time after time. Rambarat didn't have time to answer MP David Lee because Rambarat was probably by Boudit. What you was doing, your phone was on silent. When you went to line with Boudit Clarence, you couldn't answer a fellow MP and people were suffering and dying. You could not hear when the house is falling down. Donna Cox put on she weave and she run down there and take a picture. Oh, help is on the way. And then there was up to 6 days or 8 days after, no help. Up to now, no help. But the ball bail out. But then, in our meeting 4 days later, the union say, no money, no word, we don't know nothing. That's the PNM for you. And they are aided and abetted by the Newsday. As we talking aided and abetting, aiding and abetting have a kind of connotation of criminal activity, It have a kind of break the law kind of words, them words aiding and abetting. And then the next topic, Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi says he's going to focus on making TNT a non-stop fet attraction. Slow your roll, tight pants. Nobody here want to whine on you. If you whine, your pants go bust. So you cool yourself. You is not the Minister of Tourism. You is not JW. You can't sing a soca. We not interested in you helping we to fet. When we fet, we don't want to see you. You just wear the same shirt in all them fet. So you cool yourself. You need to focus on different things. I don't think fetting is in your scope of works right now. You need to focus on when the police come. Boy blue. Because the transfer of that so-called Porsche Cayenne that you purported to sell to Roger Kewal Singh, close friend of yours that you've known for decades, a man you pay $4 million in briefs for, a man who you said, and you would know that you were liming at his daughter's birthday party. Also, this Kewal Singh that you're close to, you all did not transfer the vehicle. Now Kamla Prasad Bisesa has made a report to the police and to the DPP. And now they might be coming if the police is independent and if they're going to do their job, and if no one is above the law, because all of us, when we selling and transferring car, we have to follow the law. They will be coming by you, not to say, hey boy, let's go and fet. They will say, hey boy, come and make a statement. Let me tell you all, Kamla Prasad Bisasad made the report. Kyle Taklaralsil, one of the best young lawyers in Trinidad and Tobago, has analyzed the critical nature of this situation. Listen very carefully, people. Share the live. Listen to attorney at law, Kyle Taklaralsil.
Good night, Anil, and good night to the douglAR Politics audience tonight. I have looked at this issue of the transfer of vehicles that is currently swirling around in the public domain, and I have also considered the laws that govern the transfer of vehicles. The law is very simple. If you purchase a vehicle from another individual, you have to effect that transfer within 7 days. You also have to effect that transfer, according to the law, in person at the licensing office, unless certain specific exceptions apply. The law, like every good law, makes exceptions. In this case, it makes an exception for persons with disabilities and or persons who are ill. If you're out of the country, then you can have someone effect the transfer on your behalf. If you're a company, you can appoint someone to have the transfer done on behalf of the company. But where none of those exceptions apply, an individual who is either selling or purchasing the vehicle must attend the licensing office in the presence of a licensing officer to effect that transfer. The law is very clear, and that law is there for very good reason, because a licensing officer, in the exercise of his duties, has to verify that this in fact is the vehicle being transferred, and you are in fact the bona fide owner of the vehicle who is selling that vehicle. In the absence of that type of protection, a lot of money laundering or even the transferring of stolen vehicles could be done. So the measure is there to protect citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Therefore, if it is that law was not followed by certain individuals, then I support the opposition leaders' call for an investigation into the matter, and a police investigation at that. Where persons hold public office, they have a special duty to ensure that the law is followed, and they should set the example for the citizens of this country to follow laws. So therefore, I think that a police investigation is warranted in this matter and ought to be carried out in a swift manner so that the public could have resolution on this issue one way or the other.
You hear it there? So don't cry, Faris. Faris, don't cry. Like pressure does bust pipe. You're losing the plot, Faris. Reporters asking you questions and you're getting abusive, Faris. Faris, slow down. Your foundation will crack. Cool yourself. You calling Kamla dense and Saddam Hussein is a little boy. Cool yourself. You're the Attorney General. Well, at this one now. You're going just now. But cool yourself, Faris boy. Right? You're talking with this classlessness. Conduct yourself like an Attorney General. Conduct yourself properly. Vishnu boy, Lord, today's you and Archie. Anyway, conduct yourself properly. You're the Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago. Stop using those terms with such vitriol. There's a motion of no confidence in you. Yes, it will be heard. We look forward to seeing, I look forward to seeing Keith Christopher Rowley standing up in the parliament, asking for extra time to defend you, Faris, to defend his Attorney General, to show what a stellar job you have been doing. I am waiting with bated breath to listen to the contribution of Keith Christopher Rowley in defense of you, Faris Al-Rawi. And then I want to hear also, I want to hear Stuart Smallpin Young stand up there behind that plexiglass and defend Faris Al-Rawi, the Attorney General of the PNM. That is what we want to hear. Don't stop balling, stop talking about if Faris, if Saddam is a little boy, what you is. I go tell you what you is just now, you know. and Kamala Dance.
Oh, but you is the Babylon.
You bring a new level to the word dunce. You have created duncehood. You are a knight of the dunce cycle, of the dunce house, and you calling people dunce. You nearly set up shop in law school and calling people dunce, right? Well, Faris, let me get on into some issues, eh? I want to know, Faris, how you are being so outsmarted, because all these issues piling up on your head just so, Faris. Faris, could it be that Stuart Smallpin Young is outsmarting you, outmaneuvering you? Could it be that the Smallpin is outmaneuvering the mascara foundation wearing tight shirt, tight pants man? Is that what we're seeing? Because information is just coming out fast and furious that shows that you are not only incompetent and dotish. You may be the most idiotic attorney general in the history of the Commonwealth. Just to let you all know, the UNC has called for the AG to resign. Let me give you a list of reasons why Faris, you is so many reasons. I had to write it out, eh? We had to research it and type it out. Faris, the United National Congress is calling upon you and your big muscles to resign from the office of the Attorney General, because, let's go way back, you should have resigned a long time, eh? You supported and defended Emailgate vehemently, knowing full well that Keith Rowley went in the parliament and lied. You concocted an argument that even had former Justice Ventor losing his PNM Balizé juice out his air hole to talk about content of something that did not exist. Right then and there, you should have resigned. When you gave the wrong advice and you went and swore in before Rowley in 2015 in September, imagine you with your tight shirt, your muscles weren't that big, like the growth hormone didn't kick in yet, but you went and swore in before Rowley, not even understanding what is the process of the Constitution, who is the boss. But like you want to be the boss, Faris. The AG, you didn't even claim your children when they was holding them gun and shooting it. You're afraid. Everybody knows your children. The whole world knows your children. And where did that investigation reach? You didn't even tell the country that, yes, that's my children, and whom I'm most pleased. You should have resigned then. You should have resigned with the 37 recusals from cabinet in the original PNM government from 2015 to 2020. In the Daryl Smith sexual harassment case, you were defending Daryl Smith and reported you drafted the NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, with grabbing Pum Pum. You defended a Pum Pum grabber as Attorney General, and now talking about women's rights, domestic violence, and now you want to bring me in fet? No woman want to go in fet with man who defending Pum Pum grabber. You know what man does do, what kind of sickos is going fet and grab Pum Pum, and you would defend them. If you would defend them, you would line with them. So you should have resigned. You brought laws to deal with crime and the staffing of the DPP office, but the attempts to control the police service and the police service commission have led us into disrepute now. No, actually, no problem. I don't want to put people children in mind that. I believe he, I'm dealing with this big clown, this big total mascara wearing dunce idiot Johnny Sukaran, who drive 120Y until he meet his wife and now driving 5 Porsche. What? He could sell 3 Porsche in 4 years. Pepper spray legislation, you resisted it for years. The Malcolm Jones case that you withdraw, when Anand Ramlogan had case in there to try and give back the people money, and you pull him out of court. And not only that, you pay Stuart Young the fees for defending Malcolm Jones. You should have resigned then and there when the Privy Council was laughing at Trinidad and Tobago, not believing that we could have such an incompetent dunce as Attorney General. The Ken Julian case with Bamboo Networks withdrawn also. Even though Ken Julian invested that 31 million of taxpayers' dollars against the advice of former minister in the Ministry of Finance, Christine Sahadeo. The AV oil scandal that you did not advise and instruct and guide the government to appeal, and you went against, your government had went against through the Board of Heritage, AA Kwamena, against senior council advice, against the advice of your former chairman and board of Heritage, Winfred Espine. You should have resigned then for that disgraceful position. Procurement legislation that you came into Parliament, removed the 3/5 majority, simple majority to legalize thieving. We now know what we're learning about you. We now learning about your mens rea, your modus operandi, especially with this Porsche driver. The Police Service Commission, well, you have caused the entire collapse and constitutional crisis in Trinidad and Tobago. You must resign. The Revenue Authority bill that you brought to Parliament, and you did not change anything. You just put in one Director General, Deputy Director General Enforcement, that's a public servant, and you come to remove the constitutional majority, 3/5 majority, to protect citizens' rights, to come and dip in their pockets, to put a PNM minister, to appoint a PNM board, to appoint and determine a PNM Director General to control the taxes of the situation and take the right to seize property in your control, so that we will have to ensure that you always get your rent on time, so you will tax the people. Rentals of buildings. You are an Attorney General sworn on a Bible, and you think it was okay, and you still believe it is okay to be in a government sitting at the right hand of the bald-head Oreo double stuff and rent out your own building, but say that you just stepped out, you recused yourself, so there was no influence whatsoever. You really believe Trinidad and Tobago is a bunch of idiots? You must go, Mr. with your makeup, with your whole makeup kit, with your mascara. I never see lip gloss, but I'm sure you have one. Change laws to benefit Imbut Construction. Imagine a Minister of Finance reading laws that you drafted as Attorney General in the Parliament, knowing full well that he had a building in Picton Street under construction, and that he would benefit from that very law. That's part and parcel of what you have done. You must resign and go. COVID-19 tickets, everybody, you introduce tickets, and everybody getting ticket, man riding a bike by himself in the bus with the ticket, the thing down here like a chin strap, and get a ticket. But you gone in a room with 13 man, dribbling, laughing, hugging up, looking like, you look very comfortable with all them, man. And you, no mask on, but no ticket for you, while the citizens had to pay over $20 million in tickets. Property tax, you come in, you have plenty property. Your property tax though is your property is rented to the government. So are you going to increase your rental to the government while citizens have to pay property tax, that laws that you are drafting and bringing for the people? And your wife, law firm, and your wife, when you are the Attorney General, getting legal briefs from the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and you get on arrogant in Parliament to say that you, from the office of the Attorney General, did not give her no brief. We didn't ask you that. The office of the Prime Minister is the government. You are the legal advisor to the entire government. So how many briefs did she get? From where? From what other state agencies, what other ministries have given your wife briefs while you are the Attorney General? You are a sick, greedy man. You are really a descendant of the prophet, P-R-O-F-I-T. You come into government to swear on the Bible. You gone out better off. You gone out brilliant. People supposed to serve the people. You serve yourself. The breach of the COVID regulations in the arm wrestling, and you were in Andrew Gabriel's son wedding. You, IAG Al-Rawi, you were in Andrew Gabriel's daughter wedding when the limitations were 5 people in a gathering. You were breaching the very laws that you wrote. I dare you to tell me I lie. I am saying it here on douglAR Politics that you, Faris Al-Rawi, a la mascara, a la rental, a la Porsche rental, a la Porsche man, a la spray on man, dribble on man, tight pants wearing Attorney General who has to resign. I am telling you that I now know that you were in Andrew Gabriel's daughter's wedding. 240 people, you were one of the guests. Tell me a lie now, boy. You were breaching the COVID-19 regulations, gathering in more than 5 people, 240 people in that bourgeois wedding. You abject, total dunce clown. You don't even have the wherewithal and the discipline to be an attorney general. One would think that one who makes laws for others would be the first person to uphold the law and lead by example. You are a disgraceful clown. So resign. And you calling Kamla Prasad Bisesa dense? Let me tell you something. Dense are giving you and the entire population of men some little information and insight on what is dense in general. Because this clown, to call Kamla Prasad Bisesa senior counsel who topped every class she ever had in any form of fashion, this dunce who gets stick in law school, this dunce who in press was a dunce who changed his name to feel he is some big Sawati, this Johnny Sukaran 120 wide driving clown, calling Kamla Prasad Bisesa dunce, saying she is dense. Well, let me tell you, to all the men in Trinidad and Tobago, let me tell you what is dense. Press record and share it. Dense is a man who horn his wife and ain't use a condom. And now he had to learn to change pampers in his old age. That is dense. You want to know what else is dense? Dense is riding bareback on Brokeback Mountain. That is dense. Riding bareback on Brokeback Mountain is dense. And you know what is lastly, what is dense? Dense is when a small pin busts your bubble. Look, imagine a small pin outmaneuver you, Mr. Suit wearing mascara, wearing clown, and he get rid of you. You can't even beat a small pin. So we look on to the motion of no confidence. Faris, I want to see Rowley stand up and defend you as his attorney general, and I want him to tell Camille without she wig to ask for more time for him to defend you. I'm looking at the passion that he would defend your brilliance with. I am looking for that. I'm looking also at the contribution of Stuart Smallpin Young as he defends you as the attorney general. I will be paying close attention to that. I see Paula May Weeks and Vincent Edwards. All you get bright. All you couldn't go forward with choosing up somebody who comes 16th out of 12. Move that boy now. Move he now. He might be glad in douglAR politics. Paula Weeks, you pull back. Very good. How? But you still have to explain to the country how you watch a list of 20 and let me say the first 2 was gone. How you skip number 3 to 15 and went to choose number 16. On what basis, what level of merit list that works? Here, check the media, and so it ends. It end, the thing now start. The Police Service Commission, all have gone. It has not ended because they are all gone because of political interference. Who interfered? Did Keith Rowley go to President's house and interfere with Bliss C. Prasad? We know he interfered with a girl in 1969 when he was a teacher. But did he interfere with Bliss C. Prasad? Did he interfere? And did his ministers interfere in the process of selection of a commissioner of police, which is an independent function? Who was the mystery minister? Who was the minister that was allowed to have meetings with the Police Service Commission? Even former independent, well, let me put it, independent Senator Martin Daly, and I am no fan of him. Martin Daly, you see what you have put this country through? Because of your quiet bias, because of your conflict of interest, because of your writings and ramblings with a secret love and passion for PNM, because of your contributions in the Senate, which were not wholeheartedly independent, because you utilize your influence, you allowed Rowley to become Prime Minister. Our country is in crisis because of you. Don't feel because I agree with you here that I have respect for you. No, don't get tied up with Anil. Anil don't need none all ya, Anil don't care about none all ya, and fire burn you with your pink self. You understand? Because you go in a panyard and drink with rich boys, you feel you're a grassroots man. Martin Daly says, who is the unnamed official who so blatantly interfered with the performance of Bliss C. Prasad in fulfilling her duties as chairman of the Police Service Commission? Who? Senior Counsel Martin Daly asked the question yesterday. He or she must be unmasked and his or her identity must be revealed to us. Paula May Weeks, we are asking you. Bliss C. Prasad, we are asking you. Kewal Singh, you say you didn't know who meet Bliss, but I am asking you, Kewal Singh, who you met with on the 26th, 27th, and 30th of August in that Police Service Commission meeting. All of these people who are trying to tell us that we should just move on. We cannot move on. The crisis, the lower level has gone, but those who created the crisis must go. So when you have an independent Senator Vera coming out to defend and say, well, let's move on now. The service commissions, too many checks and balances. The service commissions are to blame and so on. Senator Vera, either you are not reading very well or you need a checkup, sir. Because the service commission and the process and the checks and balances were there, but they were thwarted by individuals who were politically motivated because they could not differentiate between their political affiliation and their independent duty. And this arises because Bliss C. Prasad, the chairman of the Independent Police Service Commission, should never have accepted that position after accepting a politically appointed position as chairman of the CDA, taking instructions from Camille Robinson Regis and Rowley. She should not have, because that would lead to her being influenced or excited by politicians in the PNM. So it has nothing to do with the Service Commission. It has to do with weak individuals who play games with their integrity, morality, and principles. I see you are defending that position, but I must make note and let the population know that you are in the exact same position as Bliss. So you would have to defend Bliss, because ignorance could not be bliss. Because you, I've seen pictures of you shaking the hand of Rohan Sinnan on some PNM board that you were appointed to, while simultaneously being an independent senator. How do you explain that? I want to read your explanation and your rationalization of how you keep your independence, because it's not only if you act independent, it's apparent bias exists. An apparent bias, the test for that is if a reasonable person will feel that you would be influenced. And I'm not reasonable, I'm UNC, right? So let me take a normal independent person. A normal independent person, as the judge of reasonableness, like Corky on U97.5 with me, he would say, but listen, if you're getting paid a stipend from Rowley, if you are on a board that Rowley appoint you, if you're on a board that Corporation Sole but give you an instrument of appointment, if you're on a board that you have to follow the directives and directions of Rohan Sinnan, all of these people in the PNM, and you are in charge of that board, a reasonable person would say that you cannot be independent when you are receiving and taking instructions from the government. It is very simple, independent Senator Vera, but it gives me insight into how you could be so classless, so callous, so heartless to attack me and say I faking asthma to miss out on some committee of privileges of these ridiculous, immature, dotish PNM. Me afraid there is not one PNM born, here or dead that I afraid. Do you understand, independent Senator Vera? And you should think about what Bliss did. And before you get yourself in more trouble, you should do the honorable thing too. Because the principle holds for you and for all others. The service commissions, the process has not been corrupted. The process is not the problem. The people who corrupted the system, who were brought into the system conflicted, that is the problem. They acted without integrity, they acted without morality, they acted without transparency, and they allowed a bully to influence them. They allowed the politics to influence them, and that's why we are in the place that we are. As I'm wrapping up here and we're coming up just now, we have the leopard, the lady, the deputy political leader of the United National Congress, the Honorable Senator Jolene John. The leopardess is coming up. And just as I say that, I'd like to say, as I end here, it's always a bit sad for me, to see men who could have been great just fall to such a level of stupidity and nemakaramism that I have to lose all respect for them. Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj, you were a great Attorney General. You did a lot of good. You created some good laws for Trinidad and Tobago. But your weakness, your need for power, your inability to work as a team, your selfishness, your star-righteousness has forced you down a dark path. And now you're in the darkest path. Ramesh, stop talking about Kamala. If you want to sue Kamala, go and sue Kamala and argue in court. But good luck to you, because Kamala calling Winfred Espinay as witness, calling the whole former board of Petrotrade, calling Ansel Roger as witness, calling Dioki Singh as witness, calling everybody Krull, Gaffney Klein, former independent auditors, the audit committee, everybody at Petrotrade as witness. You feel you could just come to play games? If you want to wine and jam with Mr. Epithet, the man who is called African one thing and Indian another thing, if you want to lie and defend that baseless, classless clown, you go ahead. But leave Kamala alone. Because people still looking for you from 2001, Ramesh. We like the dye in your head, soak in your brains. We coming back with Jolene John. Privileged this evening to get one of the warriors of the United National Congress, a lady who is the hardest working human being after Kamala Prasad, the United National Congress. She walks across this entire country, a woman who cares about the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago with heart, with soul, with passion, who's willing to go sleepless nights and work across the board to improve the lives of the citizens. The leopardess, now we name our douglAR politics, the leopardess, deputy political leader, Senator Jolene John. Good evening, my lady.
Good evening, Senator Roberts. And the only reason I've put on some leopard printed clothes is because every time I look at your program, I'm seeing the lion. So I'm saying, what's happening here? So I said, listen to me. I had to come down, put on leopard skin and come down to compete, you understand?
If you're competing, you have to come, the lion has come with fire. So let me just start. You are a lady from Tobago, born and bred in Tobago. Tobago class, Tobago strength, Tobago ingenuity. How does it make you feel to know that one of the worst, the lowest level Tobagonians in history is now the Prime Minister, who just showed his true colors by cussing up a supporter, a man who helped him win office in Shan Ishmael? Rowley cussed him up and type it, took his time, Jolene John. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, in Tobago, as you well know, we are very strong. We are very forthright. We are known as that kind of, in terms of our culture and who we are, it's that we are very forthright people. However, we are not vulgar. We are not disrespectful. To this day, sometimes people look at me and they look at me very oddly when I say, yes, how are you, sir? Because that's how you were brought up. Those are your values. You see everybody and you say hello and you're very respectful. And this kind of attitude, I really cannot claim it as a Tobago value at all. I repudiate it. I have never seen anything like that in my entire life, that level of vulgarity. You just cannot explain this kind of behavior and attitude. And we've been saying all along, at least my grandmother used to tell me, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. And Maya Angelou, the good Maya Angelou, you remember when he was very crass, that's the Prime Minister, with our own political leader, who is a woman known for being very respectful. She's not weak, she's just a very respectful person. And he'll say the worst thing. Look at my dog, I ain't back at your cat, and all these rubbish. And there'll be an outcry in the UNC, but the media and everybody will be laughing, literally, and repeating and reporting these sayings of the Prime Minister. But Maya Angelou said, or even before Maya Angelou, Patrick Augustus Mervyn Manning said, when you approach the fella, he becomes a wajang and a raging bull. And I don't think we believed him. But Maya Angelou said, when somebody show you who they are, believe them the first time. But it seems as if we had to get to this point. This level, this is not crassness. This is a level of vulgarity and low that you just don't know where to go after this.
But he has shown it time and time again. Now, he made a statement that I don't understand. And I am half Tobagonian. Yes. My father is Tobagonian. His grandfather was Teacher Roberts, Luther Roberts. And I could not understand. Since Keith Rowley has become Prime Minister, Tobago has never suffered as much as under his prime ministership. How can someone, and he made the statement that his navel string bury in Tobago, and I say, well, Tobagonians looking to find it, to dig it up and pelt it out in the sea, because Tobago is suffering under his policies. And I cannot understand that a human being who purports to come from somewhere, how he would treat the people of Tobago like that.
Well, obviously, this is someone who really, and I don't want to ascribe any characteristic to the gentleman. I mean, the country knows, the country is seen, and everybody's coming to their own conclusion hastily now, because I think nobody's laughing at the jokes anymore. The party done, as far as I'm concerned. And I wouldn't impugn improper motives based on his birthright, because Tobagonians, look, I mean, you have claimed to be half Tobagonian, and you always do that. You're very proud about that. And I, too, am a very proud Tobagonian. That goes with who we are, our navel string buried there. However, I mean, you have empathy. When you have walked a certain walking life, you have empathy for those you have met along the way. Even if now God was good enough and you have worked hard enough, or you have positioned yourself well enough to be in a different place, you don't just go and not look back. You always look back, because you understand what it took to get you to that particular place. So I don't understand those who will just get ahead or climb on a ladder, and as it were, or in any, what I should say is, to me, people voting you in, have wrapping up their hopes and dreams in you, and giving you that vote of approval, as it were, and giving you the biggest job in this country, the most powerful. That is, I mean, a signal honor. You can't get bigger than that when it comes to Trinidad and Tobago, even the Caribbean, the Prime Minister, what it means to be the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. And not to honor that, and to value it, and to be gracious and grateful, so you can look at a constituent, whatever you think is the provocation, to go into that level of vulgarity. And Senator Roberts, I must declare, my grandfather who I grew up with, Cadman David Murray, was a fisherman, so, but we never knew that kind of, and they ascribe, what do you mean, custom to fisher folk, etc., or freedom of expression. But I've never heard, I swear to you, in my entire life, I've never heard that level of vulgarity. That's all I can that's the only way I can describe what we heard. And this is not something that came out spontaneously, This is something somebody sat down and they wrote and then pressed send. So it was premeditated. That is tell you the level of nothing that exists within this person's core.
But we have seen now in Trinidad and Tobago, especially in the last 3 weeks, some of the greatest faux pas, the greatest acts of corruption, mismanagement, poor corporate governance across the board in so many spheres, so many areas that it makes your head spin. Whether it's NGC, whether it's the Heritage Board with the AV arbitration, whether it is the collapse of the Police Service Commission, the actions of the Prime Minister, the Minister of National Security, bringing the entire country into disrepute. Jolene John, have you ever seen anything like this?
But this, Senator Roberts, this did not just happen. This has been going on for as long as this government has been in the management of our country. But somehow they had gotten a free pass. And that is why we are where we are today. This is just come upon us as another good Tobagonian, respectable Tobagonian, Arthur Napoleon Raymond Robinson had said, his mother used to tell them as children, habits grow in slow degrees, streams into river, into seas. You understand? So small pin didn't just drop on our head. You understand? This was happening, and these things were happening when Petrotrin, I mean, you know what had happened in Petrotrin with all of this, the audit and what have you. And they decided that we have no need for this again. They were willing to put 14,000 plus people out of work, plus the fence line community. What kind of dastardly minds and heart it takes to do that? And then they went out and lied, including the one who is dead now, you know, the then Minister of Energy, Franklin Khan, who went and said, people, housekeepers and carpenters were getting $14,000 and $40,000 a month. And the media breathlessly took these things and they wrote it. You can imagine if Express had written one editorial, one big front page, stop, do not close Petrotrin. We may have had Petrotrin here today, but everybody was breathlessly writing the lies. And the next thing we know, Petrotrin is gone. We are now buying fuel. And I mean, I'm almost certain after the budget of Monday, this whole fuel liberalization, as you know, Senator Roberts, we debated it in the Parliament. The price of fuel will go up. Not only that, in the same Express today, I'm seeing them talking about transparency in the allocation of Forex. Where were they when these folks were like jumping in the night, firing the then Governor Central Bank Joblessness, when he dared to say, look, these are the people getting the Forex. What I'm saying is, I mean, I'm going in and out, but that was just to show you these folks, the country or their supporters put them up as if they're above the law. Joblessness offended them, they fired him. Petrotrin, as far as they're concerned, fired them. They sent home 14,000+ people, cold-blooded, cold-hearted as that. So when we got to this point, I was not surprised. You understand? Because you just knew that one day that we're going to get here. And I just want to make one other point, because you see in Tobago, we tell our stories. We are natural storytellers. And I remember we grew up with when they tell you about having good values, behave yourself, do the right thing always. What they will tell you again in a story, and they will say there was a young man who got into trouble, and when he was facing the magistrate, and the magistrate had adjudicated, he was found to be guilty. And then the mother started crying, and he told his mother, "Come closer." And the mother, she said, "Come closer." And when she got close enough, he bit her on the ear. That's a Tobago. We grew up with that in Tobago. They'll tell you that when you're misbehaving, they'll give you that. They will give you that story, as it were. They say, "Come closer," and he bit your mother on the ear and say, "Why didn't you discipline me? Why didn't you tell me the right things when you saw I was going wrong?" We grew up with these things in Tobago. So, as I said, habits grow in slow degrees. Everybody, when this fella talking about, in your choice of men, and Dr. Munilal, I think he got into a war word with him, and he said he wanted to put on whatever boots to kick him up, and so meet me on the pavement. And this behavior is unbecoming of a prime minister. I don't care what anybody say, what provocation you're telling me about. If you can't be provoked, then leave the job. Just now, let me give you one other thing. Remember, I was at the HDC when Mr. Manning was prime minister, and I remember we had to go into a squatter settlement with him. And when this then prime minister came, he came driving himself in a little battered vehicle as prime minister, no security, and a squatter settlement. And the folks who were living there, they started to cuss him. And I'm looking amazing. This is when you talk to a prime minister. And when he was finished, he allowed everybody to talk. And then he said, like Mary, "Oh, last week Saturday was your birthday. How are you? Come, let me give you a hug. You are 80 years old. So and so, you got the house in Retrench? You know, I hope you're happy. This other one, your son passed common entrance, he is going to do well." That is the hallmark of a prime minister that we're signing up for. Your constituents will find that you are not working in their interests. You understand? That is what politics is about. But you want to come now and you want to dig this hole and go down below the white line in the road. In addition to which, I'm saying, as I said before, this would have been premeditated. He looked at that and present. And in this time of social media, where every child will see what the prime minister said, and I've not seen any outcry. It's as if he has normalized nasty. And I'm telling you, where are these church leaders? When our leader of the opposition would have called him an Oreo, a senior counsel calling him an Oreo, or she said there was something they were all over her for recently around the election, blank. When she said blank, All these leaders of religion, I want to tell them, don't sit down and wait for Rowley Hamper, you know. Heaven is free. You understand? A right thing is a right thing, and a wrong thing is a wrong thing. It matters not who does it. You understand? And we need to speak out and condemn this. And we have to say, this is not what we want in a prime minister. Repudiate it and tell this gentleman to pick up his bed and walk.
And let me say, as the Honorable Senator Jolene John said, I am quoting now from Israel B. Khan, and Archie and Vishnu, get my video up ready, because I forgot that and I must not forget that. Shame on you, Dr. Rowley, in the Express editorial letter page by Israel B. Raja Khan, Senior Counsel, where he says, shame on you, Rowley. A prime minister's character and personality must be made of sterner stuff. That is what Jolene John was just saying. By putting some sense into his senseless head, this outrageous, vulgar outburst is rotten and debased behavior for a prime minister. Is this the example he is setting for the young, impressionable minds of our nation, the school children? Mr. Prime Minister, I say to you, this is Israel Khan, Senior Counsel, I say to you that you have brought shame and disgrace upon the heads of your family. You are bringing that quality of proper behavior into disrepute and odium, and I cry shame on you. Over the last 3 to 4 years, I started to suspect that our Prime Minister's personality, metaphorically speaking, is akin to that of an Oreo cookie, apparently black on the outside, but really white on the inside. And I submit that this is not a racist statement. The Oreo cookie expression originated in the United States to describe house slaves or personality, a house slave personality, a black man who behaves as he is now living in Massa House, aping all the mannerisms and characteristics. Put up that picture you had earlier, Archie, of him playing in the golf, dress up in the elitist pants and the clothes. Look at it. Because I tried to tell all a long time, I'm glad that other people are seeing. Look, he's not in a football shorts and not playing. He's not in a cricket bat and a pants. He's not in a basketball uniform. He's not running 100 meters. He gone to play the white people game, because that is his game, and he leaving all it to suffer while he plays that game. But Israel Khan continued. He said, a black man who behaves as if he is now living in Massa House, aping all the mannerisms and characteristics of his former Massa. And that's where your money went. Whether it's 485 million in the Red House for him to look good and go into a Red House, or 110 million to go in Paula May weeks to have tea party in President's house, a former plantation house, or in Tobago, 18 million for Prime Minister's residence for him to go and relax. I think I told you all this before, you know, Archie. If I did, press play now. You know that there's a concept called an Oreo. You know what an Oreo is? An Oreo is a man who's outwardly black. Black skin, looks black. But during his lifetime, something happened that made him a very insecure, weak, little man with no character, who's ashamed of his blackness and lives his life trying to be something that he is not. So he runs down things that are lighter than him. He runs down big things, fat things, or anything that look lighter than him. He runs down games that are played by people who are lighter than him. He runs to buy houses next to people who look pinker than him. And when he gets into power, he talks down to those who look like him outwardly. So that when he gives HCC houses to people who have to purchase them, 750,000 for example, he makes speeches and talks down to black people and tells them, don't turn here into a ghetto. I don't want to see sneakers on the wires. Even though HDC don't have wires up in the air, they put
all the utilities underground. He talks down to people and tells them, the government, everything is the government. You have to wean yourself off the government. He looks at people who are under poverty, impoverished conditions, and he and his ministers talk down to them and tell them, you don't want to sweat, you don't want to work, but you want to go to heaven. This is the tale of a sad human being. Many of them exist all over the world. Our problem in Trinidad and Tobago is somehow, some way, one of them found their way to the helm of the People's National Movement, a party created in January 1956. And with the gerrymandering of the boundaries, any human being who reaches the lead of the PNM must be the Prime Minister. But somehow the PNM allowed this pretentious, fake black man, who since being Prime Minister has sent black people back to the 1940s. That's what we said, and now Israel Khan Senior Council understands. Do you think it gives me pleasure to say this? It is very sad that in a country made up of all sorts of races, black, brown, in between, that we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, found the lowest common denominator. You all put him at the helm of your party that has an advantage throughout, whether it's in the EBC and the Rowley Mandarin, the gerrymandering, or the PNM Mandarin over the decades, the media, PNM bias, and you lifted this person up upon the country, and now all are suffering, black and brown alike. He drive past the black in the east-west corridor flooded out. When Laventille flooded out, Maraval flooded out, all areas flooded out. He drove past the brown in Chaguanas, Couva, Carney, Central, and he went to C3 Mall to lime in his nice suit and shoes with the pinks. Israel Khan says, and if our Prime Minister needs further clarification as to what really is an Oreo cookie, he can view the movie Django Unchained starring Jamie Foxx on Netflix. So understand, this is not no joke. Elections have consequences. And furthermore, this PNM has been acting for the last 6 years as if they are above the law. They've been changing the laws, trampling the Constitution, and now it's come to constitutional crisis, especially involving the Attorney General, the Prime Minister, the Minister of National Security, and the National Security Council, Jolene John. Come in here and talk to me about this PNM above the law phenomenon.
Well, again, as I said, this is something, this did not just fall on us. This thing has been, it was creeping, and then it began to gallop, because with everything, they give this gentleman a free pass. Somehow, the folks we call the Fourth Estate, who is part of the whole apparatus of us keep being a democracy, you know, they are a major part of the, what you call the checks and balances within the context of this concept. But somehow they have gone to sleep on the job. So when the UNC or the leader of the opposition will point out, and I'm happy earlier on you reminded people that she came first in law school. A lot of them, those who are you know, talking about her with derision, she's way brighter than they are, and she'll point out there are flaws here. This law can be challenged. You know, we have an Attorney General who is a simple majority man. You know, laws that had special majority. And why you have a special majority? Because the safeguards are there. There are no incursions into your clause 4 and 5th rights within the Constitution, because those are your birthright. Just recently, Senator Roberts, I had reason to just look at my birth certificate. And you know what is on that birth certificate? The first thing? Trinidad and Tobago. That's your birthright. It's the reason it's on it. So these folks have been unmantling and dismantling these rights. And which brought us to the, for instance, when they, on the, was it 25th of January, when we had the Tobago House of Assembly election. And the Tobagonians, of course, who, they don't quarrel too much, you know, they are very forthright, etc. They may sound argumentative, but they came out and they dropped 6 seats on them. And this was a almost unknown party of young people. You know, so it told you Tobago is serious about their business. And I think the PNM overall went into a tailspin. Because again, there they are as bullies in Tobago. The whole cabinet is in Tobago, made up of Trinidadians and Tobago. But we are one. But not for them. Leave the UNC people cannot go in Tobago. Only PNM people can go in Tobago, whether you are Trinidadian or Tobagonian. So they run this false concept of a whisper campaign, etc. And they ended up with six seats. What did they do? That election was on the 20th of January. On the 19th of February, not even a month would have passed, the Prime Minister found himself in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago to amend the law and to instruct a so-called independent EBC, who again through that Constitution clause, section 71, 8 and 12, tells them that they are independent, yet, and they have a right to manage their own business. They were there busy being they were there, the Prime Minister felt that he had the right to instruct them. And what did they do? Did they say, Mr. Prime Minister, we are independent? In 2012, we would have gone to Tobago with our process, or our procedure, and we saw, and I have it here, I walked with it. I know the douglAR don't really use notes, but I'm older, so I need notes at time, you know. So this was the 11th. The 11th report of the Election and Boundaries Commission, because every 4 years they do this report and they send it to the Minister of Local Government, and they said we recommend 12 seats, 12 electoral districts for Tobago. The 12th, last year in the 2020 October, they went, was it 2020? Yes, September 2020. Right, this would have been in 2016, the 11th report. September of 2020. They did a similar report, and they said 12 seats, there's no reason to change that. This now would have been the prelude or the precursor to the election of January 2021. But lo and behold, the PNM lost. In effect, they lost. And there we were in the Parliament. There was the Prime Minister on the 19th of February, not even a month after, and he went to change the law and to instruct EBC. There was no outcry in this country because the Prime Minister has normalized this level of lawlessness. That is, he has normalized it so that everybody says, well, there he goes again. But it's not so. What they are doing, they are taking a battering ram. They are taking a crane, boom, to our constitution and to our democracy. And we have to stand up for that, because if we have nothing, as I said, or when you come into this world naked as you are at the time, you have a birth certificate, Trinidad and Tobago. So what they are doing is dismantling your birthright. What you were born, what the framers of our constitution have said, this is what we have entrusted to you. This is your right, it's a sacred trust. So every time these people do these things, that's what they're doing. They're dismantling and dismembering us. So he said 15 seats. There was really no outcry. Only the UNC would have stood up and said, no, this cannot work. This is wrong, you know. And of course, this was the report that came from the EBC very recently. They came up with this report, you know, based on the instructions of the Prime Minister. Of course, he's saying it's instruction of the Parliament, but of course they have a majority in the Parliament. And he would have said, and if you just allow me, Senator Roberts, because many times, you know, he said this instruction, this 15 seats came as an idea from Tobago. Well, all right. But that is simile-me. That I call it go Tobago colloquialism, because he refers to some sort of meetings they were having in 2014, which is true. And the then chief, what do you call it, the chief secretary, Mr. Orville London, who was a man of a different disposition. It's PNM, yes, but had a different approach to politics. He brought all of the parties together, all the protagonists and so on, all the opposing fractions. And they sat down and they came up with a document, which they sent down to Trinidad. You know, and in that document, it mentioned the 15 seats. But that document had so many other suggestions in terms of the determination, self-determination, the economics, how much from the budget they should get, that Tobago should get, I think, 8% from the budget, right? They were saying we want a clear demarcation of what are our boundaries. We want to know what lies below the sea if we have oil and things. So we will know what we are contributing to the GDP. You can't pick out any of that. All you could pick out, 15 electoral districts, because you believe that will give you a better chance to win the election. So, but they are not above the law. And I'm saying, where we are today with this, what do you call it, the Police Service Commission, I am not surprised by it. I expected that we would have walked down this primrose path of perdition, because the Pied Piper, the emperor, who is unmasked and unclothed, has been taking us there for a long time in full view. of everybody, all of the folks, and I hear Senator Roberts talking about it, all of those who used to put up their hands, whether it's the transparency, international, what they call themselves now, they're so transparent now, they're opaque. The religious leaders, you understand, and as I said before, heaven is free, you understand, you have to speak out whenever you see wrongdoing and oppression, speak out, you understand, that is what God put you here to do, you understand. I think our Pope John Paul, you used to say these things, you know, you are here to help those who can help themselves. But now we have someone who oppresses, and to me finds pleasure in that oppression. Senator Roberts.
Julian John, 2 days for another painful, culminating budget presentation. All of his previous budgets have been highlighted by untruths, fabrications, flawed policies, broken promises, and basically some people have described it as a total waste of time listening to Colm Imbal, because what he says in the budget and what happens, what takes place, they are totally incongruous. What do you expect in the budget? What are you hoping for the budget? What are you ready as the deputy political leader and senator of the United National Congress to do to help the citizens out of this morass, this pain that we are in? And there's pain across the board, Senator John.
Well, Senator Roberts, you know, a budget to me is a strategic statement, is the intention of what the government is going to do for the period under review, as it were, which is 2021 to 2022. As you're very right in your description of the preceding budget from that particular Minister of Finance, that they mean nothing. We have said, what are our pressing issues? Our pressing issues really, and the economists, and they have been saying it, is to diversify the economy. We need to create jobs. We need for people to go back to work and children to go back to school. You understand? We have a number of issues that are very apparent. We don't need the Minister of Finance really to write a budget right now. The man who driving the bus could write the budget. The taxi driver could, the person in the supermarket, because everybody know what is wrong with Trinidad and Tobago. And to me, sometimes they're smarter, brighter, and more effective than these people. However, as you said, as you noted, nothing they say, it's a group of people who don't believe that there must be accountability or responsibility. They're just okay. They could just lie, they could talk, they could say anything. They could obfuscate, they could they can deflect, they can just run ahead of a topic. You know what we say when they try to deflect and bring another topic, as it were. That is all they try to do day after day after day. There is absolutely no accountability. So for instance, we know, I mean, and when I was campaigning in La Hoqueta Alparo, I realized how much Trinidadians and Tobagonians love the land. I was just so surprised at how happy people are doing agriculture, and even the young people are now looking for an opportunity. And I recall we were doing something called Project Hope about La Hoqueta, and the young people were very engaged, and a lot of the youths who they felt, well, you know, these people, as well, the Prime Minister, are much used for them and so on, because he's not in his social bracket. You know, and we were doing this thing, and there was a lot of excitement and hope, as it were. And he came up one evening, and in his usual tone, he said, this is what pak choy politics. And I'm going to give you land in the heights of a repo, which of course never happened. You know, it's now past a year, and that has not happened. So when they said they were investing 500 million into agriculture last year, you know, this has not happened. I don't think they got 5 million. They get 5 cents. Right, recently I saw the Minister of Finance, Mama Guy, the Minister of Agriculture, and said, well, you know, I have the money holding for you. So the money in his back pocket, and the financial year has ended. You know what would have happened? We are already late in terms of diversifying this economy. And here I'm talking about some pie in the sky with the green economy and digital economy, but nothing concrete, a lot of rubbish. You know, I mean, if it is, you can't even get laptops for children who really know we should be going back to school. You know, of course, but they're into the dividing again, going back to school because they've been out for close to 2 years, and so many of them cannot get that simple laptop and connectivity. What digital economy? Senator Roberts, even as we speak now, in Dubai, I mean, it was put off last year, we have Dubai, they have their expo. They're expecting 25 million people to pass through that expo. Every country in Africa is represented there. They say we are home for business. Africa, I'm talking about. And then you come across the Middle East, you go into Asia, you are into Europe, and so on. All their neighbors are there in North America. doing this expo? Why aren't we there if we are serious about what is it, diversification? Because there's where you're going to meet new people for new partnership, markets that you would not have tapped prior, new products you want to put out there. Because of course, if you look, you see a lot of pineapple, a lot of pawpaw. You hear about the hotness of our pepper. We have the best chocolate. So you meet new alliances. Not only that, you meet a lot of wealthy countries with big sovereign wealth fund. I was looking at the Saudi booth. You know, they did 2 years ago, they did Vision 2030. Why can't we be part of that vision? We have to be creative and we have to be active, and we have to go out there and we have to be aggressive about these things. Not aggressive about cussing people, where our Prime Minister is the lowest common denominator. You know, he'll sit down and talk to some sheik somewhere, whatever. But then again, the pink can, you know. So
yeah, you will see at the front when they pink, you can see he gonna be like a little boy in a sweetie shop.
Well, I want to see him tell Maktoum, you know, Maktoum, that kind of.
But Jolene, you brought up some points here and I cannot understand. One, August 10, 2020, Kamla Prasad Bisesa had this plan, and you are just talking, you are scratching the surface. The detailed plan about jobs, about different economies, investment, diversification, and it had been out and could be commented on by the population and revised coming forward for 11 months before the election. The PNM comes 9 days before the election with a thrown together roadmap to nothing except Vasant bow tie. And the people enough of the people, along with gerrymandering and the EBC, that has many questions still to answer, squeaked out a victory by 2,560 votes in an election. And then they come now and people are shocked that everything has collapsed. But they do not realize that the PNM had no plan. They presented you with no plan, but yet some of you still went and danced, put wine in your neck and vote for no plan. I cannot understand.
And that is why today, Senator Roberts, we are where we are. Because they never hid who they are. They showed us they're incompetent, they're disgusting, they are disrespectful. They showed us. You understand? So for 5 years, you found coming to the end of that period, people were saying, okay, I'm tired, I fed up, and what have you. And then they wind, and I must say, a lot of these business, what do you call it, chamber and so on, yes, they too were part of that passing parade. You see everybody ringing their hand now and asking what they're looking for Forex. What Forex? Forex like Jericho and when they were closing down, we call it petrol train. None of you have put up all your hand because if you black people working for a little bit of money.
And let me call the name. I go call the name. Dax driver and the energy chamber. When they shut down petrol train, they said nothing. When Rowley and Smallpin went in 2017 and negotiate gas price and eliminate the NGC, Jerry Brooks resigned. You said nothing. When the NGC collapsed, the entire Point Lisas and 11 companies go, you said nothing. On top of that, Gabriel Faria from the chamber, you were telling people before the election, your market fact survey says that PNM was doing great in COVID and PNM, Rowley and Convent Girl were great. Now you're crying for Forex, now you're crying for jobs, now you're crying for diversification, now you're crying for ease of doing business, now you're crying for business impetus and help. When Kamla put a portfolio, put a plan, says listen, we're going to diversify, create different revenue streams, we are going to reduce your taxes, we are going to give you more cash so that you can invest, that you, the business people, are the engine room. All you didn't go with that, you went with Rowley. So Gabriel Faria, save your tears for Al Rawi. He go lend you some mascara. Jolene John, budget, the people. Could you believe? I know you are a woman who cries with people, feels people's pain. When you saw those workers at Lake Asphalt on bended knee, describe to me the pain.
Well, you see, again, like a leopard, Rowley and Smallpin can't change the spot, you know. They don't care about these folks. They don't care. But I must commend them because they recognize. Because remember, they would have gone to their manager, the direct report, they would have gone to the, the general manager, they would have gone to their unions, and they would have gotten no response. And coming out there on their bending knees, I think Trinidad and Tobago, that should have touched everybody in Trinidad and Tobago. You understand? To see big, as we say in Tobago, hardback men, who, as they said, they would have worked hard for their money. You see, when we pay people, they could go home and hand to their wife, to their children. They go to the supermarket. They go to this. They go to the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. That's how you have this circular flow of income. And you will have people who would have worked and not given them their income. And you are the government, as you bragging, you are the largest employer in the country. I think it was a moment. To me, that was really a cathartic moment in the country when you had to say, well, Jesus Christ, I thought I was not going to see anything else. This, to me, is the moment maybe when they started to see Rowley for what he is, because for so long, that leopard has not been changed in his spot. But I think that was a moment of great pain, Senator Roberts, a moment of great pain. I never thought I would have seen that.
Jolene John, it has been a pleasure speaking to you. Because, you know, I want to understand my people. We are here in Trinidad and Tobago. People are asking me, but what are you still fighting for? We fighting because we love the country. And we are fed up of seeing people who just, now the PNM plan is, state the problem. The problem get worse, state it again. We have no responsibility. We have nothing to do with the problem. We are not to provide solutions. We are just to tell you that is a problem. Children doing bad in exams, well, they couldn't go out online. Well, the COVID-19, 46,000, no laptops. Well, that's the problem. Jolene John, thank you very much for gracing us, the leopardess, the deputy political leader of the United National Congress. douglAR Politics, we out. Bless.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Senator.